Hello and welcome to Sparked by PRCA. In this series, we'll shine a light on the incredible expertise behind some of our wonderful trainers at PRCA. Each episode is packed with insights and practical advice from the people who help shape the future of PR and communications. I'm Souha Khairallah, the Talent and Development Director at PRCA, your host for today, and we're kicking off this exciting series with none other than our amazing trainer, Jayne Constantinis. So happy to have you here, Jayne. Jayne is a highly sought-after trainer here at PRCA. Her expertise is in presentation skills, speaking up the cup, and gravitas. She's also a BBC-trained journalist, an experienced conference speaker, and a seasoned corporate communicator. One of her many career highlights includes presenting live TV reports for BBC World, and she's worked with global brands to help refine their storytelling and messaging. It's an absolute pleasure to have her on the show today to share her journey and tips. Welcome, Jayne.
Oh, thanks very much, Souha. That's quite a big build. No pressure then.
You deserve it. So, Jayne, we're going to start by talking about your journey. You please tell us what inspired you to become a trainer with PRCA and how your experience led you here.
It's been quite a journey, this career, up to this point. And how I actually got in touch with the PRCA was the way that many people, when they're self-employed, target a potential employer who has great credentials and is very prestigious. So I'd left the BBC. I was self-employed, and I spotted you, and I thought, yes, I'd like to work for them. So I did the usual thing of knocking on the door, and got a nice, thank you very much, Jayne. We have no opportunities at the moment, but we'll keep you on file. I could probably wallpaper a 6-bedroom house with the number of letters that I had like that when I was first self-employed. Anyway, miraculously, sometime later, somebody rang me and said, we've got a bit of a crisis. Could you possibly do some training tomorrow? And of course,
Wow.
as you do when you're self-employed, you go, yes, of course I can, not a problem. And then you figure out how you're going to do it. So that was technically how I got involved with you guys. But the career journey that led to that point started off in agencies, advertising and PR and branding and corporate identity and a bit of marketing for professional services. I did a bit of market research, as you say, a bit of journalism, a bit of features writing. And then in the broadcasting arena, continuity announcing, so announcing the programmes on live television on BBC One and BBC Two, and then the news reporting that you mentioned. And we did a bit of media training when I was at the BBC for diplomats who were going to be doing high-profile postings. And I got involved in that and immediately thought, I like this. I like passing on to other people the things that I've learned along the way. And so when I then left the BBC and became self-employed, it was the most natural thing in the world that I was going to do more of that alongside continuing to do presenting and voiceover work and so on.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that so much. It's fascinating. Speaking of your career, what are some of the highlights for you?
Yes, highlights. Well, there've been many. I think the day that I arrived at BBC Television Centre and looked up at that logo and said to myself, oh my goodness, you're about to work here. And then pretty soon after that, I was opening microphones and speaking out loud to millions of people. I mean, that's a highlight.
Yeah.
The TED talk that I did, the TEDx, that was a career highlight as well. 14 minutes of terror, 5 months of preparation, but a wonderful experience.
Right.
And I think, day in, day out, highlights are about helping other people these days, helping other people to become more confident and more skillful, and knowing that you've actually helped them to achieve their communication objectives. And it might be something as tangible as a lawyer the other day who didn't get promoted. And everybody was expecting that she would. And the reason she didn't get promoted was because she didn't have enough gravitas.
Yes.
Yeah. And we did some work together, and she went again for the promotion, and she got it. And you know what? That puts a little bit of a spring in your step as a trainer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing that. I agree. And it's so nice to be able to help people, support them, and just offer support in general. So, so important. And I always talk about actually the importance of gravitas and how much it helps everyone at every level. I always say that to every single person. It's so, so important. So for you listeners that are here today with us and who are considering to do one of your training courses, can you please highlight 3 takeaways that they'll be able to apply immediately after completing your training? As you know, our training is so practical. What can they truly take away with them?
And practical is the word. So my approach to training is that communication is like a sport. I really do believe that. And of course, everything I offer people is based on these 27 years that I've spent in front of cameras and microphones and live audiences. And of course, I continue to do that stuff. So I'm doing keynotes quite a lot at the moment. So I'm bringing the things that I do and that I've learned into the training room. So it's very, very practical. It's like a sport. The other key takeaway for everybody is that confidence is a muscle. You know, I've said this to her many times.
Yes.
Confidence is a muscle. It is something you grow, something you take control of. It's practical. And so what we do in the training room, whether the course is about gravitas or presentation skills or confidence or spontaneous communication, we unpick the business of communicating out loud. And we identify all the component parts. We find ways to improve each of those by a tiny margin. So it could be body language, it might be eye contact, it might be pace, pausing, intonation, audience mapping, content generation, not using too many fillers. And we improve each of those areas. Then we put it all back together again. And it's the difference between bronze medal and gold medal.
Absolutely. You're so, so right. And actually, attending your sessions has been amazing for me. I've always learned so much. I've always taken something away. I always say to everyone, all of that, it's hard to take everything away, but if you can take a few things away and put them to practice, that's amazing. So yeah, thank you so, so much, Jayne, for giving up into your incredible career and sharing such practical advice. It's been such a privilege to hear from you today. I've actually really enjoyed this, my first podcast, and I've loved it. And to our listeners, if you're feeling inspired or want to sharpen your skills, check out the full range of PRCA training courses on our website. You can find a link on the podcast notes. You'll find Jayne's courses and many others designed to take your career to the next level. And you can also bring any of Jayne's sessions in-house for the whole team. So thank you, everyone. That's all for today's episode. Goodbye for now.